Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. And wow, what a fascinating video that was from Simon yesterday. The Jugglers, Michael Lefkowitz's brilliant puzzle about the Tracy Chapman song. Check it out. I mean, and thank you for being such a wonderful community. Also, just my personal shout out to Peter, who wrote the email Simon read out in yesterday's video, and his battling son. Our hearts absolutely go out to you both. Well, hearts being the key word there. Good luck. Now, happy news. Well, not happy news. That was happy news. More happy news today. We are celebrating the birthday of Missing a Few Cards, part of the Full Deck and Missing a Few Cards Sudoku construction team, and in his own right, a major mathematics professor. Anyway, Full Deck wrote to us to ask us to wish him a happy birthday. I think Simon may have done that already, but I'm certainly going to do it today and celebrate by doing a puzzle that was recommended to us recently that is by this constructional duo, Full Deck and Missing a Few Cards. Now, talking of constructional, I have some construction workers using the scaffolding outside, which may interfere with the noise occasionally, and that is incredibly annoying, especially as today is Good Friday, and I didn't think they'd be working. I hope they're on double time at least, although since I'm ultimately partly paying for it, maybe I don't. Anyway, never mind about that. We will look at this puzzle in a moment. Coming up on Patreon on the 1st of April, just 3 days away. What am I going to call it? Dangerous to Know. That is the name of the hunt that we are running, and we hope you will enjoy it greatly. There will be 5 or 6 puzzles to do, and some very sinister people have been sending us emails of including puzzles. So please check that out on the 1st. Please join us on Patreon. There's always loads of content. Generally, there's loads of stuff under the video that you can link to. The description field includes links to Sven's SUDOKU PAD, our merchandise. Wearing my Cracking the Cryptic hoodie today. I hope you can see that. And what else we got going? I startled the pigeon. What else we got going on? We've got all our apps, of course, which feature all sorts of wonderful puzzles by some of the best constructors in the world. There is a classic app, but there's also Sandwich Sudoku, Thermo Sudoku, Chess Sudoku, etc., etc. Do check them out. But the first link under the video is to Under Pressure by Full Deck and Missing a Few Cards. And I'm going to do the rules now. Normal Sudoku rules apply. We're going to put 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. 4 of the digits are already given, so we only have to find 77 of them. Low pressure gauges. Numbers inside a blue low pressure gauge indicate how many digits strictly greater than that number appear in the up to 8 cells surrounding the gauge. So, let's imagine there was a 6 in this cell. That would mean that 6 of these cells have to be greater than 6. Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah, it is. Reds obviously operate the other way around. They're looking at how many digits strictly smaller than this number are in the surrounding cells. It's a bit like Minesweeper, isn't it? So a 5 there means that 5 of these numbers must be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Wow, okay, those are the rules. Give it a try. I mean, that's fascinating. It's sort of the way that those gauges operate on their own number is going to be interesting, I think. But don't know how it's going to play out. You can check from the video length how I found it, potentially. Happy birthday, Full Deck. No, happy birthday, Missing a Few Cards. Got it the wrong way around. And we will see how this goes. Let's get cracking. Okay, well, we've got a 2 in a circle, and that circle is a red one looking at the lowers. So only 2 of these numbers are lower than 2. So there's a 1 in box 1 in one of those 3 cells, and a 1 in box 2 in one of those. Now, I don't feel that you can put a 1 in a red circle. And I'm right. You can't put a 1 in a red circle because that would indicate that there was a digit lower than 1 in the surrounding area. Not the case. So we get a 1 there, we get a 1 there by Sudoku. And we've started within the first minute. How often do I place a digit in the first minute? Not often. The trouble is, that was the only digit we're given in a circle. I think it's going to get harder now. I don't even know what we should be considering, but let's look at this. This is saying that there are... Okay, well, that 5's interesting because it's saying this isn't a 5. So all of those digits are not lower than this one. Gosh, this puzzle is desperate to highlight loads of things every time I click on anything. I don't know. I don't think that conclusion I just reached was very interesting. Oh no, hang on. Perimeter cells are interesting because they're only counting up to 5 cells. So these are a 3-4 pair because we've used 1, 2, and 5 in the top row, and we can't put a number bigger than 5 in a perimeter cell. In fact, I'm just going to do that straight away for the perimeter cells because otherwise I might forget. Now, okay, this digit is either a 3 or a 4. If it's a 4, all of these have to be lower than 4. Their highlighting is getting very odd in the app. Anyway, if they were all lower than 4, that would have to be a 2-3 pair. And that's impossible because of the 3-4 pair here. You'd have too many cells that were 1, 2, 3, or 4. So that is not a 4. Is that right? No, that's not right. If that was a 4, 4 of these digits, not all of them, would have to be lower. So you could put a 3 there, and then a 2 in one of these, and you would fulfill the instructions. You'd have to do it that way. Is there a problem with putting a 3 here? That would require 3 of these digits to be higher than 3. That's quite easy, even though there's only 4 digits left that could be. Oh no, we're positing a 4 here. Okay, there might be a problem with a 3 here. That implies that only 3 of these digits would be higher than 3. We've already got 1 that is higher than 3. And these, if that was a 3, the minimum digits here are 2, 5, and 6. Okay, that would give us exactly 3 digits higher. If that's it just works. It's hard to do with this being a 3 and that a 4, but I think it just works. If that's a 3, these have to include a 2, so that there's only 2 digits higher than 3 there. And this has to be lowish, 2 or 3. Yeah, that can be 2 or 3 just. I have a feeling that this breaks down in some way that I'm not seeing. That's so annoying. This is what I've got to work here because I've got this 3-4 pair in the grid. Well, does it somehow fail the other way around? If that's a 3, we're looking at putting a 2. Wow, 2 would be specifically there. Okay, so hang on. If that's a 4, then we need 4 of these to be lower than 4. And that would require that to be 3 and that to be 2, this one. I'm focusing on that cell. Because if that was 3, then we again have to get 2 into that cell because that's the only way to make up the numbers. So that's always a 2. So it doesn't matter whether that's a 3 or a 4. That's a 2. Now, does that inform this one? No, it doesn't. If that's a 3, though, Ah, it does, because now you can't put, oh, you could put 3 there. Bother. If that's a 3, that's a 3. Because this would need only those and that to be the higher digits than 3. If this is a 4, that is higher than 4. Yeah, okay, that's right. So if this is a 3, that is exactly a 3. If that's a 4, that is 6, 7, 8, or 9. And as for this one, it's already saying 3 lower digits. If it's a 3, job done. If it's a 4, then it needs to see another lower digit, which is going to have to be a 3 here. So in whichever case we are, one of these two is a 3. Now, which one can't be a 3? Come on, if you've figured that out, tell me. This one is looking at blue, looking at the greater digits. If that's a 3, it's very easy to do. No, you see, it's not. If that's a 3, these are all going to be higher. And one of these is going to be higher, and that 3 is falsified. Yes, okay. If that was a 3, these would all be higher, which is already the total for the 3, but one of those would have to be higher than 3. That one specifically, in fact. So that is not a 3. Right. So that is, and that means this is not a 3. That's the way it works. Does it? Does it? No, hang on. It means this is not a 4. That was the problem. I'm totally losing my mind. Absolutely sure I figured this out. Now I can't even remember what I did. So if this is a 4, it needs a 3 there. And we've just worked out that can't be a 3, I think, satisfactorily. So that is a 3. And now it's seeing those 3 lower numbers, and these don't have to be and can't be lower than 3. So this is a 4, and that is seeing 4 higher numbers. So that doesn't put a 3 here either. So my conclusion that there was a 3 in one of those is wrong. This 4 is seeing higher digits there, 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 and there. Okay, but at least we've proved it's right. That was so easy, and it took me so long that I feel slightly off form today, let's put it that way. Right, this is a 4. These are all higher than 4. But I mean, they have to be here already by Sudoku. That one we've just learned is not 4 or 3. Oh, well, maybe that's interesting. So this digit is 6, 7, 8, or 9. That's saying how many of these are smaller than it. Well, it can never be a 9 in a circle. I've only just worked that out because it's counting up to 8 circles, up to 8 cells around it. So if that's an 8, these are all smaller than 8. That's very easily done. If that's a 7, I mean, that is a very hard digit to determine. I don't see any way that we can really approach that. So I'm going to have to look at this cell, which is again saying how many greater digits. Now, it's at least a 3 by Sudoku. But the maximum number of digits greater than 3 or anything higher that this can see are in those cells. So this is 3 or 4. And it can't be 3. I've just worked that out before, because all of these 4 are going to be bigger. So that's a 4. And now this is not a 4. Now, can this be 5? This is a blue, so these would all have to be bigger than 5. I think that works fine. Although, interestingly, it would make that cell a 3. because you would need to put a 3 not in those cells in box 1, and that would be a 5. 3 can't go there by Sudoku, so it would end up here. So one of these two is a 3. Now, if this was a 3, that's interesting. Okay, if this was a 3, these two cells would have to be not bigger than 3, because those would all be bigger than 3. So these two would have to be from 1, 2, and 3. I mean, that is doable. So using the fact that one of those is a 3 by Sudoku, I can put a 3 in one of those two cells, and a 4 and a 1 in, and a 2. Oh, this is a triple. 1, 2, 4 triple there. I didn't realize I was X-winging so freely. Well, these numbers are quite high. So red is looking at how many low digits there are, but this blue is looking at how many higher digits are in, well, let's say these cells. That's the maximum, because there's no way that or that are higher than this digit. So this is a 5 or a 6. Oh, it's not a 6 by Sudoku. Bingo, it's a 5, and there are 5 higher digits in those cells, which is a degree of freedom that's a little depressing, because it just means that one of these 3 is not higher than 5. What can we do with this one? This is now 6, 7, or 8. We can't put a 9 in a circle. I've just remembered that again. Now, this is counting the number of cells that are strictly smaller. So it's got those 3 already. If this was 6, oh, that 5 has made this a 3. That's very obvious. There we go. Let's do a little bit of tidying up of pencil marks, because it's always helpful. Right, now this 3 was saying that there are 3 higher digits. They're all there, so these two are both not higher than 3. So that's 2 or 3, and that's 1 or 2. That feels quite informative. Right, well, I was going to go back to think about this. I thought I was on the verge of ruling out 6 in this cell. Actually, that's 6, 7, or 8 in the row as well. And these are both red cells, indicating the number of smaller digits around them. I mean, I don't know. It is very easy to populate with smaller digits, although that's obviously these other digits in the row are from 6, 7, 8, 9 as well. Oh, I can place 5 in box 1. Unexpected. 6, 7, 8. I might as well just pencil mark 6, 7, 8, 9, since I've got quite a few clues about them. There we go, that's something. Now, come on, this is counting the number of smaller digits around. 1, 2, 3 in the box, whatever it is. Clearly, it's already counting those 5. They must be smaller. So if it's an 8, that would have to be 7 and 6, and that would be 9. If it's a 6, that has to be smaller. If it's a 7, you can put a 6 there, but that has to be smaller. And if it's an 8, that has to be smaller. This digit is always smaller than that one. And it's not 2, 4, or 5 by Sudoku. Well, all right, 1, 3, 6, or 7 there, and it's always smaller than that. That's weird. So this is always counting those 6 cells. Then if it's a 7, 6 is in one of those, so this is never 6. Oh, hang on. If it's a 6, it's fulfilled as long as that's 1, 3, or 6. If it's a 7, 6 has to be in one of those. And if it's an 8, that has to be 7 and 6. So 6 is never up here in the corner. thrilling conclusion that it is. Now, what about this one? This is obviously already seeing those three. If it's a 6, these three have to be no greater than 6. If it's a 7, one of these is a 6, and these three have to be no greater than 7. If it's an 8, these are 7 and 6. That's impossible, because that would put 9 here where it can't be. So that is not an 8. Now I wonder if I can say this is not an 8. I don't think I can. But what if 9 went there? Would that be sabotaging both of these? It would reduce this to a maximum 7. And this to a maximum 7. So there'd be a 7-6 pair. If that was 9, that would be 8. Doesn't work the other way around, does it? If this... Oh, this is now seeing a definite 9 in one of those cells. If it's a 6, it's those three that are lower. If it's a 7, again, it's those three that are lower. So these three are definite because of the 9 that the 7 must see. I think there's more I can do here than I'm understanding. Oh, this also needs to see, oh, it needs to see lower digits. That's not too bad. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. These are quite difficult digits to play with, I have to say that. Okay, what about this? Let's have a look at this. Can that be a 4? Looking at 4 lower digits around. I think the answer is no, because what lower digits are you going to put? It's already seeing a 5, so those would all have to be lower than 4. And if you made those from 1, 2, 3, that's too many cells from 1, 2, 3. So that's not a 4. So this is now a 1, 2 pair, and that is a 3. And this isn't 1 or 3, and that's getting a bit interesting. Probably not enough. One of these is a 4 by Sudoku. Now, this is... Did I work out you can't put a 1 in a blue circle? I did, because blue circles are seeing lower numbers. Yeah, that's very obvious, sorry. 2 there, 1 there. And now it is seeing... Oh, hang on, I've got it the wrong way around. Blues are looking at greater. So I was right when I was thinking about 4. It's a red circle you can't put a 1 in. So, if this is a 1, this is looking at greater digits. What? Well, it can't be a 1, because it's already seeing that, and it's going to see loads of others. How can it even be a 2? I think I've filled this with the wrong information. So let's go back a bit. I had this as 1, 2, or 4, but this is a blue digit. It's looking at greater. I'm so sorry. Okay, well, no, I was right, because it's looking at a maximum of 5 cells. So I was right. It was just when I started thinking about the job it was doing that I went badly wrong. Okay. Numpty man. Right. It can easily see 4 digits higher than itself. It can't be a 1, because it must have 3 higher digits there. If it was a 2, because that has to be a 1, it will see 3 higher digits. It is a 4. And now it is seeing 1 digit that is not higher than itself somewhere here, and all the others are. I mean, that's not actually very helpful, annoyingly, because the third one from 1, 2, 3 could go in one of these, or this could be 1 or 2, or this could be 2, 3, or 4. So that's really not getting a lot done. So I don't know what to do about that. We've got, so 4 of those digits are, why Why won't it keep a set of digits highlighted? I don't understand. Anyway. Wow, I'm really struggling with this, aren't I? But gradually understanding what's going on. So you can never put a 1 in a red circle, because that's looking at the lower digits. Now, that is a 3 or a 5. If it was a 5, all of these would be lower. That would, strictly lower, that would be a 2-4 pair. That would be 1 or 3. These would be from 2, 3, 4. It could work, but it's pretty implausible. If it was a 3, though, it's going to have 3 lots of 1 and 2 around it. It could have a 2 in one of those, a 1 there, and a 2 in one of those. It's quite difficult to be a 3. And what was 5 going to need? 5's going to need all of these to be smaller. So if it's a 3, that's a 1. If it's a 5, that's 1 or 3. So that's 1 or 3. If it's a 3, one of these is a 2. If it's a 5, these are from 2, 3, 4. Oh, that nearly fixes this cell, but it doesn't. If it's a 5, those are 2 and 4. If it's a 3, one of them is a 2. So one of those is a 2 by the power of similarity of conclusion. Bother. I really don't want to look at this area of digits. They look terrifyingly confusing to me. Okay, so I hope the conclusions are right so far, otherwise I'm just being the biggest numpty in numptydom. 5, 3, 4. Come on, what else can we actually do? I'm going to have to go back up to these red circles and try and figure them out. I think these two were trying to tell me something more, weren't they? So if that's a 6, then that is 1 or 3. And that would have to be a 1, 2, 3 triple. Also, you'd get 1, 3 there and 5 there. Oh, look at that. Here's a reason that doesn't work now. Wow, that's complicated. Okay, if that's a 6, that has to be lower than 6. So it becomes 1 or 3, which forms a triple here, and that becomes 5. Now there is definitely digits from 2, 3, 4 here. Oh, maybe it could just survive. I thought it didn't, because I thought that was going to have to become a 2 and keep a 2 out of there. Okay, I'm off beam again. If that's a 6, these are all low. They're all from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That again is 1 or 3. That's 4 or 5, because we've got 2 in one of those. And that's... Aren't these always lower than this? Yes, but of course if it's 7, they allow 6 to join the party. Yeah, bother. Right, if this was 6 or 7, these are definitely both higher than the reds around them, because they become an 8-9 pair. So that would have to be a 6. That would have to be a 7. So this can never be a 6. If that was a 7, it would see a 6 in one of those cells and all of these. And it would have to see one, yeah, it would be seeing a 6 that would be there, basically. If that was a 7, that has to be the 6. So if this is a 7, that's an 8. Hang on. If that's a 6, no, if this is, yeah, if this is a 6, I think things work okay. It's harder if it's a 7. These are all lower, those are all lower. That's 6 of them, and it's seeing a 6 now in one of these cells, if that's a 7. But this is an 8 then. And everything around it has to be lower. So that's a 6-7 pair. So if that's an 8, that's a 6-7 pair, and that is 9. This is a struggle. So if that's a 7, that becomes 9. If that's a 6, I don't know. I don't think it's quite so straightforward. Now the scaffolder workers have set off their alarm. Let's hope they fix that in a moment. I could be just missing something very blatantly obvious in the circles I've already done. Because sometimes my conclusions there were fairly partial. Wow, I find this very difficult. Right, I'm really not getting it yet. That 5 then is seeing 3 higher digits there. It's got to see 2 higher digits in these cells, higher than 5. But all of the, oh, sorry about my email alerts. There we go. 5 there. 2 of those have to be higher than 5. But that one, isn't that responding to this as well? Yeah, the trouble is you can make those 2 higher than 5 and this one's under no pressure and can be lower than that 6 or 7. Which it has to be. All of these are lower than 6 or 7. I mean, it's not a great conclusion. Mind you, that's only 3 possible digits in that cell, which rather surprised me. Whereas in this one, it's a ridiculous number. 5 digits. It would be great to prove that that had to be higher than 5, but lower than this number. We would literally have a beautiful chain. I don't think that is the case because this 5 could be looking at those 5 cells. Quite likely is. Oh dear. Sorry, it's almost certainly very obvious how to proceed. I'm not getting it at all. Maybe I should be down here again. If that was a 2, then it's seeing 1s there and there specifically. If it's a 4, oh, if it's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 1 again. And these are from 1, 2, 3, 4. That's very doable. If it's a 4, so if it's a 2, that's a 1. If it's a 5, that becomes a 1. If it's a 4, The trouble is, then that could be a 3 and that a 1, which leaves these the freedom of having 2 digits lower than 4 only. Oh, but could that be a 3 if that was a 4? If that's a 3, we need a 2 in that column, a 1 in that column, and a 2 in that column. I just don't see how it disambiguates. Even at 3, 2, the 2 ones there gets the job done, along with a 2 there. I mean, it would be great to prove that was 3, 1, because then this is 6 or 7, and then these are struggling a bit, which at the moment, they're kind of surviving. I know 6 is in one of those cells, providing a 6th, a 7th digit for this. So if that's an 8, this has to be a 6, 7 pair, and that's a 9. So we'd get 9s in both of those cells. But if this is 7, then all I know is that one of these is a 6, although I do know it's that one. So if this is 7, that's 6, and this is 8 or 9. If this is 8, no, then that's 6 or 7. Quite the opposite in terms of the polarity of the high digits. Getting nothing done. Looking at all the wrong things again and again and again. A circle in the center of a box would look helpful to me. Although I raised this conclusion a couple of days ago and had it gently pointed out that a circle in the center of a box in that particular rule set was utterly impossible. Oh, there is a 6 there, so that's not a 6. That really is slow thinking. That 4, have I just failed on this? This is looking for higher digits. They can all be higher than 4 as far as I can see. One of them isn't. Is that actually valuable? I don't think it is. Not yet. Not in this puzzle, not now. Or maybe it's a combination of the fact that only one of those could be higher than 4. And how many of these could be 6, 7, 8, 9? If that's a 5, none of them. If that was a 5, these have to both be low. Okay, that's interesting. If that was a 5, just have to check the rules. These would both be from 1, 2, 3, 4. That would complete the set of 1, 2, 3, 4. And these would definitely both be higher than 4. Which is fine, isn't it? Looks fine. If they're definitely higher than 4, that's a set of 3, and then one of these would be lower than 4 and would be 1 or 2. Whereas, if that's a 3 and that's a 1, there has to be a 2 in one of these cells. And that's a 3 then. This one is always definitely higher than 4 because 4's in its box. This one, though, could be 4 and could be the one digit that isn't higher than 4 that's seeing. In fact, 4 is in one of these cells. If that's a 5, 4 has to be down here. Does it? No, yes it does, because 2 of the digits from 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to be there, including 4. But if that's a 3, I don't think there's any pressure on 4. As long as there's a 2 here, 4 can do what it likes. That as a 2 would need 1s in those positions. I've learned that long ago. I don't know what it does for me in any way. I mean, I'm still not really looking at these cells because I just don't know what to do with them. How can we fill anything in? What is the game here? Wow, this is not like a normal full deck and missing a few cards problem to me. I am under pressure because I'm just not seeing what to do at all. I'm not seeing anything I can do. And it's probably something staring me in the face from what I've looked at already. This 5, that was picking up those 3 digits and then 2 more here that are bigger than 5. The trouble is, an untethered circle just could have any digit in. I just don't see what the constraints are, because once you put a low digit in, there's a lot of higher digits that can go around a blue circle. Once you put a high digit in, I mean, it narrows it down, but wow, I'm really struggling. It's going to be something so obvious when I spot it. I know that. I know that. So if that's a 6, it's not an actual Sudoku consideration. If that was a 6, these are all lower than 6. Now that's true. Okay, if that's a 6, these are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? It is right. If that's a 6, these are definitely lower. So you've got 1, 2, 3 there by Sudoku because of that 4, 5 pair. And that would be a 4, 5 pair. If that's a 6, this is an absolute slam dunk 4, 5 pair. That's weird. I didn't see that coming. Then that is 6, 7, 8, 9. The 5 is going to see the right number, unfortunately. Oh, goodness gracious me. This is looking at the number of smaller digits. If it's an 8, only one of the digits is not smaller, so that would put 9 in one of those. So, no, if that's an 8, 9 is not in those cells, in fact. They must all be smaller than 8. If it's a 7, then one of these is one of those two is a 6, I think. And if it's a 6, oh no, I've got 3 to place still, so that could go in there, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. if this is a 6, that is a 4-5 pair. And this is then a 1-2-3 triple, and that's a 1-3 pair, and that's a 5. So if this is a 6, that's a 5. Needing those to be smaller than 5, they would be 2 and 4. That's very interesting. And that would have to be the 5. So if that's a 6, this is 5 and that's 4. That's just weird that we could actually go that far. I'd love it for this to be a 6, because I could actually do something in the puzzle then. Now the alternative is that it's a 7, and that's an 8. And this is a 6-7 pair, and that would be 6. So if that's not a 6, that is a 6. So that's never a 6. Thrilling conclusion. Really mind-boggling. And I think that's all I was missing earlier when my brain was telling me I was learning something here. So if this is a 7, that's now bigger. And that has to be smaller. That becomes a 6, and that's an 8. And that's a 7. So if that's a 7, that's 6, that's 8, that's 7. That's 9 up there. And that's 9 as well. I have worked this out before. That must become 8 in that case. This must become 6. As must that. I mean, it would fill in a lot again if that's a 7. So it fills in a lot if that's a 6, but it fills in a lot if it's a 7. This is confusing. Where are we at with this puzzle? If this is a 6, that makes this 5 and 4, doesn't it? That's how that becomes 5 and 4. 6, 5, 2, 4. These would be 7, 8, 9. Oh, that's hard, isn't it? Blue is looking at greater digits. How can that be 7, 8, or 9? Could it be 8? Couldn't possibly be 8. Couldn't be 9. For that to be 7, 7 of these would have to be 8s and 9s. Oh, this is something I should have thought about before. For that to be 7, 7 of these would have to be 8s or 9s. That's just insane. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 of those would be 8 or 9. That pair would be 8, 9. That pair would be 8, 9. And this cell would have an 8 or a 9 in it, which is absolute nonsense. So that cannot be 7. Oh my goodness. Why does that take me so... I mean, it's difficult, but I should probably have thought about not putting high digits in high cells. Now that was going to happen. This was going to be a 7, 8, 9 triple if that was 6, because of the 2, 4 pair down here. Was that right though? If that was 6, this is a 5, 4 pair. That's a 1, 2, 3 triple. So you do get that 1, 3 pair there. Wow, I mean, it is a complicated chain, but it is right. This can't be 6 because that gets too high. So that is 7. Right, so that's 8. These are a 6, 7 pair that I can fill in. That's 9. This is 9. That is now 8 by Sudoku, and that's 6. And this is a 7, 8 pair, and that makes this a 6 by Sudoku, with a 3, 9 pair over here. Now, that 6 is taking lower digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It definitely needs that to be lower, so that's a 3. This 5 is taking those two and that, but we still don't know what down here. The 7, those 4, and these all have to be below 7 now. So I can get rid of that corner marking, which was relevant to that being a 6. That's now not a 6. This 8 needs those all to be lower. 2, 4, 6, but it can now be a 7, can it? Or would that spoil this? Yeah, that would spoil this. It can't be a 7. So we do get our 1, 2, 3 triple and our 1, 3 pair, and that's a 5. And these are all from 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are from 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, that is a 2, 4 pair now. And that's not a 4. And again, this still can't be 8 or 9 because they just don't make sense in a blue circle. So that's an 8, 9 pair. This is 5 or 6. By Sudoku, it's a 6. That's a 5. This is not 5 or 6. This is 7, 8, 9 by Sudoku, and they're all higher than the 6. The 6 is now already seeing 5. Why won't it keep a range highlighted today? 5 highlighted there. It's going to see either 7 or 8 in those cells, one of them, and the other of 7 or 8 is down here. Okay, how about this 4? Oh, that can't be 7 or 8 by Sudoku. We've got a 2, 3, 4 combo, so that's 6 or 9. This 4 is now seeing those as all higher, and it's got to see the other of 1 or 2 in one of those cells, which can't be there because of the 1, 2, 3 triple. So that is 1 or 2. Now we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 combo here. What is this? Answer came there, none. 6, 7 or 8. But one of those two is a 6. One of those two is a 6. That's just a Sudoku move, doesn't touch any circles. One of those is a 5. That's maybe a little more interesting. There's a 4 there and a 4 there. That's an X-wing on 4s. So one of those is a 4. 6. 6 is either there or there in this box. 9 is definitely in one of those two cells in this box, so it's not there. 9 places in box 4. That becomes a 6. I'm left with a 7, 8 pair. That has become a 7. Oh, intriguing. So that's where 9 is now, which started that little chain. This is an 8, 6 pair that can be filled in. That's now 7. That's 8. Goodness me, it's weird how this puzzle suddenly fills. I mean, if you paused it at 3 minutes ago, you wouldn't believe how I've got to this stage, or indeed any further at all, given what I was going through. Right. That now can't be higher than 6. One of these has to be higher than 6, and it can't be there or there. So that is 7 or 8. The other of 7 or 8 is in one of those two cells in this column, and it must be 7 in this box. So that's actually an 8. Wow. And finally, I never thought this would happen. I'm finally beginning to sort of understand the rule set as it applies to these circles, but it's taken a good long time, hasn't it? Oh my goodness. So one of these is a 4. I mean, it really helps when you can suddenly do a bit of Sudoku. Oh, look, that's a 1, 2, 3 triple, looking at that. That 1, 2, 3 triple must be disambiguated by now, but I don't think it is. This digit sees a lot of other Sudoku digits and ends up being a 1 or a 3. These are, that is also 1, 2 or 3 by Sudoku. Now, I made a rash claim a moment ago that I was beginning to understand the rule set. I'll tell you why that was rash, was because I'm pretty sure that can't be a 1, and it's taken me an age to see that, because that's looking at the number of smaller digits around it. Yeah. Okay, so if that's a 2, then it sees a 1 in one of those cells and no 1 there. That's very plausible. Oh look, 1, 2, 3 triple, looking at that. Honestly, that 1, 2, 3 triple is bugging me now. I don't think I can actually resolve it weirdly yet. This thing though, how could that be a 4? If it's a 2, they're both 1s. I've seen that before. If it's a 4, then it's seeing, then all of these have to be lower. That has to be a 1, 2, 3 triple with a 2 there and a 1, 3 there, which would break that cell. So it's not a 4, it's a 2, and those are 2 1s, and that is going to sort out a lot more. Those are 3s, that's a 2. Wouldn't it be marvellous if I could finish this by Sudoku and just check the remaining cells at the end? I mean, not really. But I'll take anything at this stage. It would be incredible to finish under an hour. I never thought that was going to happen, and it may probably still won't, but it's now at least vaguely possible. 2, 3, 7 here. We'll look at those in a moment. These are 7 and 5 in an order that I have worked out. Now look, that 5's just filled in without me ever really thinking about it, but it works. There are the 5 digits higher. Excellent. Right, this is a 1, 4, 6 triple. Let's get rid of the corner marks. This is 2, 5, 9, and this is 3, 7, 8. Now, we've got these circles left. That 6 is fulfilled already, I think. 6 lower digits, yes, that's done. This can only be a 2. Oh no, that's strictly greater. That is going to be great. If that was a 2, this is going to be greater. Oh no, we've also got this 2. Hang on, let's look at that first. This is how many digits strictly smaller than that appear around it. So that has to be a 1. Yes, okay. Well, that is something. Okay, now this digit next. If this is looking at the higher digits. If that was a 2, it's seeing that 3 and that, it would be broken. So it's not a 2. If it's a 3, oh, it can't be a 7. It's never going to see 7 digits higher than 7. So that is a 3. Let's do the Sudoku tidying up. Now, the 3 digits it's seeing that are higher are from those 4. Okay, if that's a 2, this is where I have trouble with this rule set. If that's a 2, it can do it. In fact, it will have done it. It will see that 1 and a 1 in one of those cells. If that's a 7, though, that gives a lot of scope for lower digits. However, bizarrely, if that was a 7, all of these 8, if I could keep them highlighted, I would. All of these 8 would be lower. So it's not a 7, that's a 2. And it is already fulfilled by the ones it will see. That 3 now, these all have to be higher than 3. So all I learned from that 3 is that this is not a 1. Somehow I'm meant to finish the puzzle from here. So let's see if Sudoku does it at this point. Because if it doesn't, I've got nothing. Oh, we've got 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spot. Light losing its religion. That's now a 6. I mean, this is really going to have to work by Sudoku because there's no other clues coming. Why is it not working? That's not a 2. That's not a 9. Got a 2, 5, 9 chocolate teapot triple there. And pairs everywhere else. I mean, nothing relates to these clues anymore because every single one of the pair possibilities is higher than any circle it touches or lower than any circle it touches. So I've got to do this by Sudoku. There's no negative constraint rule, thank goodness. How does this resolve by Sudoku? Doesn't look like it ought to. Oh, 8. I've got an 8 there. It does. 8, 9, it does. It's simples. Oh my word, what a puzzle. This had better be marked right, otherwise I'm just crying. Yes. What an extraordinary puzzle, and what a battle to get one's head around it. Yeah, wow. I'd really like to know if I was missing something significant when I had to work on that stuff. And these 7 and 8, I do post if there was something simpler there, because that is just crazy times. Anyway, I'm delighted to have got through it. And a very happy Easter holiday to those of you celebrating or those of you getting time off. Anyway, we shall see you again soon on the channel, no doubt. And look out for Dangerous to Know on April the 1st on Patreon. Bye for now.